What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? What is up? We have our live with Seth Barnett tonight, so just giving it a couple of minutes, get some people on. Really, really important. I'm going to chat with him now.
Hey, there we go. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. You're good. How you been?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. I got a little taste of the Southern life the other day when I was in Georgia.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah, I think the Atlanta area is its own beast too. It's definitely
Yeah.
different than the rest of the South. So,
Yeah. It was kind of eye-opening because as I was driving through there, I'm like, this looks just like Boston, like the area that I was. I'm like, there's no difference here other than it's enormous. It looks just like Boston. Then we went a little further south. I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah. I haven't been to Atlanta in a long time. My grandparents lived there when I was a kid, but
Oh, yeah?
yeah, I haven't been back since they've passed. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it was nice. We went by a few people's homes, like, basketball players and baseball players. And I'm looking and I was with my boss and he goes, hey, let's go grab lunch. I'm like, I'm still looking. The house is still going. This is nuts. We don't
yeah.
have that up here in Massachusetts. you know? Oh, it's crazy. So how you been?
Not too bad. My youngest one's sick, so I've been taking care of her today, but not too bad.
Yeah, we had a stomach bug run through the house last week, and it all derived from my daughter. So yeah, I know what that's like.
Yeah, it's not fun, but
No, no, it spreads like wildfire.
yeah, I hope that's not the case. I got to start my new job on Monday, so
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Take maybe a whole bunch of vitamin C. Eat like 3 oranges a day,
yeah.
something like that. So I'm glad. I'm actually gonna see if I can mess with this lighting real quick. 1 second. I'm glad. I'm glad everything's been going well. So to jump kind of right in to make sure that your time here we know is valuable. So, and I know you get your little one's not doing very great. So I won't keep you long. But any new developments on the FOIA side?
Nothing. I haven't heard anything, and I can only assume that it's because of the government shutdown.
Yeah.
Because the first one I did with the FBI, I at least got like an automated response that said like, we've received your FOIA request or whatever.
Yeah.
But with the DOJ, I haven't gotten anything, so I can only assume that's because of the government shutdown.
Yeah, that's possible too. All right, did you guys file it as your own, or did you guys have an attorney go, or did you consult an attorney before it was filed?
No, I just did it on my own.
Okay.
I did a bunch of research and filed it myself. If for some reason things get jumbled and they reject it for some reason, then we'll probably
Yeah.
go through an attorney. But I think for now, I'm just going to try to do it on my own.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't think you need an attorney at this stage, but I think you're right. If it gets rejected and whatever, and there's other legal means it to take, I definitely, I would say consider an attorney. So 100%, I agree. Um, Now, obviously, just the other day was Ashley's birthday. Um, do you guys do anything? Do you like sing a song? Is there something specific you guys do every year on her birthday?
It kind of changes every year. We used to, for a lot of years, get together with all of her friends and we would go to BJ's because she loved
Yeah.
that restaurant.
Okay.
But since we moved, we kind of do our own thing out here. So this year, for dinner, I made her favorite dinner. She liked beef stroganoff, so I made beef stroganoff for the family, and we hung out and watched a movie, and talked about Ashley for a while. And yeah, it was pretty good. It was a good day.
Beef stroganoff. That's a far cry from the tacos.
Yeah. Well, I made jambalaya for dinner tonight, so
Oh Jesus! You're gonna be on Beat Bobby Flay by June.
I don't know if I'm that good. My wife will tell you I am, but I don't know if I am.
It's all right. We were watching it earlier. My wife's like, "What would you make if you were against him?" I go, "Nothing. I don't stand a chance. Like, what's the point? I would just look at him the whole time."
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask a few questions, some questions that I know you and I chatted about. Starting with, has there been any communication at all aside from what you've mentioned with, I want to say it was a mutual female friend that ran into somebody, and the guy was going to talk, and he just never showed up. And then you went to a track or a field, and the woman ran away or walked up. Has there been any other interactions since those?
No, nothing. And I have a feeling that they know about my TikTok by now
Yeah.
because I've had a few people that used to run in that circle reach out that haven't spoken to any of them in a while, but they're like, hey, if it's getting to me, I'm sure it's getting to them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Whitney,
yeah. People love the hats. Yeah, Whitney's like a hat person. On my side, I can't see who's sending it. I just see it, and I'm like, well, Whitney does that, and there's always a couple other people that do it.
It
So I
was
just took a
Whitney.
wild guess it was Whitney.
Yeah.
It's even Jenny Lynn just said, yeah, Whitney must be over there. Must be. So I wanted to ask you a little bit. Oh, there it is. I got it too. She's feeling giving tonight. So I was going to ask you a little bit more about that. They had to have seen your TikTok or seen something. And has anyone come forward at all so far talking about things, or like, hey, I haven't heard about this in a while? Maybe people within your community or anything like that.
Other than like a few people that were friends with Ashley in high school that have reached out, like didn't have anything to do with anything that happened, but have reached out to say like, hey, I just want to let you know this came across my TikTok and want to let you know that like I still think about Ashley all the time, or she came up in a conversation at dinner the other night with some friends, like things like that, a couple of people, but nobody from that group has reached out. I haven't heard from any of them.
And at least according to your knowledge, is everyone in that group, the boyfriend at the time, the boyfriend's brother, there was 2 females and another guy, are they all still, like, how do I say it on TikTok, like alive and well?
Yeah, as far as I know. I mean, 2 of them I've heard from some other people are still like heavy into the rug world, so maybe they're kind of tuned out. I don't know, but the rest of them, from what I've heard, are doing fine, but I don't know that for sure.
Right. Another question I had was if what's one let's say 2 things, 'cause I think one is not fair to you. What's 2 things you would look at if you were to go back into this all? Yeah, you love that, right? It's just adorable, isn't it? What's a couple things that you would do, maybe ask differently, or maybe some questions you didn't ask if you were put back 20 years ago? Like, what are some things you wish you asked or did?
I think the biggest one for me is probably when her boyfriend showed up at her birthday party, and my friends were like, hey, he's here, do you want to talk to him? And I didn't talk to him. Going back, I would have. Admittedly, I probably wasn't in the right headspace to talk to him. I probably wouldn't have been able to ask the right questions or any of that. But if I had the knowledge I have now back then I definitely would have talked to him that night, and probably would have been like, hey, let's go next door where there aren't as many people and just talk.
And no witnesses.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but
All right. You were what, 21?
I was
22?
22. Yeah.
22. I mean, it's tough, right? I mean, at this stage, even me being at 37, even if I thought of my 22-year-old days, I wouldn't, the way I thought back then versus the way I think now, especially with kids, is night and day. It's hard to put yourself back there. The whole hindsight 2020 thing is real. There was a couple of questions that I think was pretty good here that I saw that on a follow-up there. Lisa asked earlier, do you think if Ashley was still with us today, they would have still been together, married, living life together?
I doubt it. I think eventually she would have had enough of his BS.
Yeah. And
probably seen through the facade he had put on to get her to date him in the first place. And, I think knowing that she had told him if he didn't quit using rugs that she was going to leave him, it was just a matter of time, I would think.
Right. So that last part, where did that last part come from? The part of, because we've been talking about it, I've been saying it in videos and on lives, the fact that if he did not cut the habit, she was going to leave him. Where did that come from? Did she tell you that? Did he say that? Where did that whole thing come from?
To be 100% honest, the only way I've ever heard that was from my mom. So I don't
Okay.
know if she had talked to because my sister was living with my mom at the time.
Okay.
So I can only assume that my mom and her had had a conversation and that came up. I guess there's no way to be 100% sure that that actually happened.
Okay.
But through everything else, my mom hasn't lied to me about anything. So I guess
Yeah,
the
she
only
believes me too.
yeah, the only way that that could be a misnomer is if Ashley told my mom that, but it didn't actually happen. So
Right.
I don't see why Ashley would have brought that up if she hadn't said it. She certainly wasn't one to not speak her mind. Yeah, if she's
Right.
got something to say, she's going to say it. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's no gain there for your mom to bring that up. So
yeah,
I believe at that point that's valid. And I apologize. So Lisa didn't ask that question. Julie did. Lisa's question was, what do you think happened?
I get asked this question so often that I don't know. Every day is different for me. Some days I think, maybe somebody put it in her drink just as like well, maybe she'll feel it and she'll like understand what we all feel and she'll enjoy it or whatever. And then part of me some days is like, well, maybe she didn't know it was in the Dayquil NyQuil bottle and she just took it not feeling good. Um, I kind of go back and forth between those two. I think
Yeah.
those are the two that I juggle between.
If at all, and I don't need to know who it is, but if at all, do you have something in your mind by yes or no? If it wasn't the boyfriend that we all suspect, do you have a thought that it might possibly be somebody else? We don't need to know who they are, but by like yes or no, do you have a thought of like, you know what, it could also be this person?
Yeah, I guess if I had to, um, yeah,
Okay. Because that's something I was chatting with you about. Was I just said, the more I thought about it, I'm like, all right, our focus is on one person, right? And I know you've been on a bunch of my other lives before, and I always say we have to open up our eyes to everything because we don't want to discredit anything that we don't know. But what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't the boyfriend at all? What if it's just we're not looking in the right place? Is that something you think is valid?
yeah. I mean, certainly. I think I between the two of us, I think our law enforcement instincts kind of kick in of like, hey, we can't get too much tunnel vision here. We can't look at one thing. We gotta make sure we're not excluding certain things.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I've always probably since everything happened, I've always been pretty open to the possibility that the boyfriend didn't do anything,
Hmm.
and like that's one reason that I want to talk to him. Maybe he didn't have anything to do with it. I don't know, but I haven't ever talked to him or heard his side of things to try to draw any conclusions. So
Right. Okay. Um, what about the possibility that he's covering for somebody else? We don't need to know who that somebody else is, but like, what are your thoughts around the possibility that he might be covering for someone else?
I think my biggest concern or my biggest issue with that is after this many years and after him getting, put on 48 hours and everything, um, I just, I don't know if he would cover for this long.
Yeah.
That's my biggest question about that is, unless it was, somebody specific, but even then, I don't think he could keep doing it.
It's funny because after I was talking with you about that, and we had some other questions that I'll go into, I started thinking of this, and I started thinking of like some other cases that I cover, and I was just kind of thinking out loud, and I'm like, well, do you know if he's on social media at all advocating for Ashley at any point? Did he at any point? Did he, talk about like, these things can happen, accidents happen, anything? Was there any advocating for her at all, or was it he went radio silent?
Yeah, no, to my knowledge, he did the 48 hours interview and none of us saw or heard from him again. Now, somebody that was kind of friends with that group years and years ago reached out and said, well, they're not avoiding you, but you haven't really reached out. And I was like, well, that's not true. So,
Right.
um, I mean, it is what it is. I'm on every social media platform, not just this one. I've got personal pages on Facebook and Instagram and all that. They can find that very easily. I'm not trying to hide or anything. So if they wanted to get a hold of me, they could.
Is there any, do you happen to know if any connection has developed between those two females and the boyfriend's brother, that random guy? Because we knew that they were just kind of random there. I was trying to understand the connection between these people. Was there any connection with those girls whatsoever to the guys?
I don't think so. I think then they were all just friends. But to my knowledge, they're not like close anymore. I don't think they all hang out anymore.
Yeah.
At least not that I know of.
Yeah, because I think one of the big questions that I had that I brought to your attention before was the bottle that the substance was in. If Ashley accidentally took it, real simple, like by accident, took a swig of it, thinking it was actually NyQuil. Maybe she wasn't. I think you mentioned she may have had a cold. If that was the case, then why would the boyfriend bring the attention and mention that he brought it on the boat and that substance was in that bottle? If there was no witnesses to it at all, why would he put himself in that line of fire?
Well, I mean, I think there's probably something to be said for the fact that if that is the case, and him mentioning that, they could have gave her. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but
The substance?
yeah, every cop carries it with them now.
Yeah, starts with an N.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's a possibility. Maybe he thought if he brought that up, they could administer that and maybe save her. So I guess there is some side of that could be not him implicating himself and trying to help. And I'll admit that. I mean, shoot, if he was cognizant enough to go, hey, this is missing, you can give her this, do it, then I mean, I guess that's a possibility.
Yeah, because I was just thinking about it and I said to myself, well, if it's in her system, maybe that's why he brought it up and said, hey, my stuff is gone. But then why did no one double check what was in that bottle? How come there was no swabs, or was there any swabs of what substance was in that bottle? He mentioned my medicine is half gone. But if the medicine, obviously the label is not what was found in her system, did they not swab the inside? Did they not check if it was cleaned out?
Yeah, we don't know that, unfortunately. So I would coming from my law enforcement experience, I would say, yeah, they definitely took that bottle and tested it. But I don't know if they did or not. I guess that'll be something we'll have to wait for the FOIA request to go through.
When back in 2011, when they closed this case and never told you guys about it, when you found that out, did they give you any other information at all regarding why they didn't say anything to anybody? Is that just common practice at that Fed level? Like, why did they not communicate anything to the family that it was closed? You guys have been looking for 20 years.
Well, the way I found out was through a law enforcement contact that said, hey, I had nothing to do with this. So they could only tell me that. Like, that's all they told me. So I can only assume that they contacted our attorney and our attorney just never told us. And that's, maybe just a communication breakdown, or our attorney said something to allude to it and just didn't come out and say it. I mean, obviously, given the circumstances, my mom's going to be a little more apt to block out bad news in those situations. So if her attorney didn't come out and say, hey, the FBI has closed the case, it's done with, then, if she was super vague about it and said, oh, they're not really sure if they can prosecute or something like that, then there would be no reason for us to think that it was closed.
I think you and I both know when feds close a case, they typically have, a person, and they usually have somebody responsible, or unless it was a self-unaliving. But in this case, are they looking at this, that she did this to herself on purpose?
Not that I've been told. That's never even been spoken about. So Uh, at least to my knowledge, it was classified as an unaliving
Yeah.
and not a self unaliving.
Like an
So
accidental.
no, not even accidental. I mean, it was at least from what I've been able to gather, it was classified as the only thing that there has no statute of limitations.
I'm just thinking this out. A 24, she was 24, I remember,
Yeah,
right? 24, healthy, vibrant. They find those in her system. They tested a hair follicle or two, realize that she doesn't have any experience with this kind of stuff or any of that stuff in general. And there's no, I understand the international water thing. I understand all that. Whose jurisdiction is it? But how is it just labeled as like an unaliving, not even accidental, and the case is closed? And then the fact that there's multiple people there, there's no key fab data, there's no camera footage. How is it just closed like that? And the other thing, I'm sorry, Seth, is it for sure closed? I know it's just a contact, but it was your contact 100% like sure it is closed in 2011.
yeah.
Okay.
And the only thing I can think of is the FBI presented it to the Attorney General for prosecution, and at that point, their hands are washed of it. Okay, it's a DOJ
Right.
case now. We don't have anything to do with it. And the fact that the Attorney General is the one who decided not to prosecute, the FBI just kind of shrugs their shoulders and go, oh, okay, well, our case is over with. We presented it to you. If you don't
Yeah.
want to prosecute, that's on you.
Yeah, they did their part.
Yeah. So I think the decision not to prosecute weighs now more on the Attorney General's office than it does on the FBI, which is a little strange for us because for so many years we've been putting all of the blame on the FBI, really, for doing a half investigation and kind of not really caring. But now things seem to have been flipped on their head for us. Like they actually did do an investigation, so much so that they recommended prosecution. And then the Attorney General is the one who went, nah, I don't think so.
Now, would it be in that FOIA request of whom they recommended prosecution of or for, or is that usually never really there? It's just we recommend prosecution in general for this case.
No, I would think it's in there. I can't say for certain, but I would think that it's in there. And I would also think that the charge is in there. The charge that they recommended should be in there as well. So, and that's really why I want to get that FOIA is I want to know who they wanted to charge and with what charge. And then I want to be able to read through all of their documents so that I can look at it from my law enforcement experience and say, okay, this is why they decided not to prosecute. You know, maybe it's just not quite enough. There's not quite enough there. Or maybe it's a he said, she said. And like I've been a part of those cases before where I've taken somebody in. I had all the probable cause in the world, got them, booked them, and then the DA goes, hey, we just don't have quite enough, so we're going to have to
cut loose.
Which is fine, but
Yep.
there's always a reason for it.
Let me ask you this, put you on the spot now, more so than I already have. You get that FOIA request back, you know what the charges are, you know who they wanted to prosecute. What's your next move?
Shoot, I don't know. I guess, I mean, whoever it is, whatever the charge is, that my next move is really to try to get a hold of her boyfriend and sit down with him. We, as a family, are going out to California for Christmas. So, and we're going to be there for quite a while. So I think I'm going to, sometime in the near future, reach out with the only contact information I have for him, which I hope is right, and ask him if he'll meet with me and just talk. I mean, no bad blood, no nothing. Just want to hear from him and find out his side of the story.
Is there any chance at all that Ashley had a thing for any of the other guys that were there that night or that trip?
No,
Anything at all?
I don't think so. I mean, there were only two other guys, and one was her boyfriend's brother, who I knew and was younger than me. So I don't think so, not him. And the other guy had been kind of a buddy to Ashley for quite a few years. So I think he was sort of friend zoned. So I don't think that's the case. And somebody just asked if it was safe for me. Yeah, it'll be all right.
I think we asked this on our previous live, so I'm sorry, but did he have a jealous bone, the boyfriend, insecurity bone?
I mean, not one that I ever saw. It's just, I mean, everybody has a tendency every once in a while to get a little jealous, and I get it, but he wasn't like overly jealous or anything, not that I ever saw. And it's really hard for me to like quantify what it was about him that like I just didn't like for Ashley, because I didn't have any issues with him on a personal level. Like me and him, like whatever, we got along okay. We would see each other every once in a while, whatever. But I guess it's the the classic, like, I just thought my sister deserved better.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, shoot, he might say the same thing nowadays. I don't know, because I haven't talked to him. But I wouldn't classify him as like a jealous guy. I wouldn't think.
Have you and the family discussed what? And we don't need to know what the discussions are. But have you and the family discussed, if you get this FOIA request back, it's approved, you saw the charges, you know who they were going to go after? Have you and the family discussed legal action post the FOIA request? No.
I mean, I think I get what you're hinting at, and I don't know that that doesn't really need to happen. I don't think, it's just, we just want answers. We're not really looking to go like, hey, let's get back into court. Let's go get a bunch of attorneys. We've dealt with the grief for 20 years now. So all we really want is to know what happened. And like I said, I've said multiple times, I'm not trying to ruin anybody's life. I'm not trying to blow up somebody's world, especially innocent people that had nothing to do with it. So, all we care about is finding out what happened.
Have you approached anyone since? Well, let me ask you this. When was the last time you approached anybody of that group to talk?
I'm not 100% sure, and I've gone back through my emails and messages and stuff, but at some point, it was probably over 10 years ago, I reached out to her boyfriend's brother, because out of that group, he was the closest. He was the one I was closest to.
You guys played Little League together, if I remember.
Yeah. And I sent him a message, whether it was an email or a Facebook, or gosh, back then it might have been MySpace for all I know. But
don't date us. Don't date us.
I sent him a message and said, hey, I tried to be as nice as I could. I was like, listen, I know we haven't talked in a really long time. I just want you to tell your brother that I want to talk to him. And I never got a response from him. So that's the only attempt at contact I've had in a really long time. So,
and that was to the brother. That wasn't to
and that was because I couldn't find him. So I reached out to his brother.
Okay, and you didn't get a response from that brother?
No.
Okay. So my next question then on that side is, would you be willing to try again, and maybe not stop at the brother, maybe go straight to him?
Yeah.
In a way of like not combative. I know you have ways of doing it, but like not combative. Not here to blow up anybody's life. I just want answers for my sister. That's all. We're not going to prosecute anybody. Like, have you like maybe something along those lines?
Yeah, it's certainly something that I'm like mulling over right now, actually. So I'm like 90% sure I have a way to get a hold of him. The thing I want to do before I do that is I want to talk to every single person in my family and make sure that they're okay with it as well.
Right.
And that they're okay with it being me who talks to him. And if they If they prefer it's my mom, I'm okay with that. If they prefer it's them, I'm okay with that too. But we just need to come up with, at some point, we can't uh, all of us talk to him at the same time. I think he'll
Yeah.
shut down.
Oh, 100%.
So I think just one of us needs to be the point person who's going to go ask all the right relevant questions. Um, and it's something that I would like your help with, is to come up with a list of questions to ask when I do hopefully get a chance to sit down with him. It's a little weird for me because I feel like I have I have knowledge of what to ask, but I feel like I might get a little bit clouded in the moment and a
Yeah.
little bit emotional.
What
And like
about
you
what
know,
about
you
a
can't.
neutral source?
What was that?
What about a neutral source? Someone that's not a PI, someone who's not an attorney, someone who's not close to the family. I mean, listen, it doesn't have to be me, but somebody like me who has zero connection, he may not shut down with that. He may be more, because with you, it's going to be hard when you ask certain questions. It's going to be hard to really keep those emotions in check. Same with mom and the rest of the family members. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on like a very neutral, non-connected person?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm open to that. That's certainly something that I would run by my mom and my brothers and sisters and make sure that they're okay with it as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm open to that too.
Okay. I mean, again, you need any help on that front, just don't hesitate.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I have ways of, getting some answers and in the most respectful possible ways. But sometimes people, as you know, being in law enforcement, some people they shut down when they talk to people connected to whatever happened. They
Yeah,
feel a lot more comfortable with neutral parties. You know,
yeah, 100%. I get that.
um, I think I asked this earlier, but I want to go a little deeper. What's a question you never asked him? Let's just talk about him. What's a question you never asked but always wanted to ask him? I know you didn't really have much of a conversation, so I guess maybe questions that you haven't really thought of asking him, or maybe went public with questions. What are some things that maybe he's in front of you, other than the ones we know? What happened? What is another question that you would ask him?
Yeah, I mean, other than the obvious, um, man, I would like to know if he was even of the right mindset when he came back to the room that night to know if she was alive or not.
The That night, like the early hours of the night, or when he got back from breakfast?
No, the early hours of the night.
Okay.
Because his story at that point is just, oh, well, I came back to the room and she was sleeping, so I curled up next to her. But uh, if he was out on a cruise partying and all that stuff, I mean, she may have already been gone and he didn't even know. Because for me, the whole part of this that drives me insane is him getting up and leaving in the morning and being gone for as long as he was,
Yeah.
and then coming back and finding her unresponsive. So
Yeah.
I think it's the crux of that is, was he sober enough at that point when he came back to the room to know whether she was there or not? So
Yeah.
I
Do
mean,
you do you happen to recall the actual TOD? I don't know if we're allowed to say it on TikTok.
we don't have one. That's part of the problem, is they never determined that. I mean, the medical crew on the ship called it. I think it was 2:45 p.m. was the official.
The call.
Yeah, but as far as from the autopsy, we didn't get that.
I'm just thinking, like I know you probably already thought, if they were performing life-saving measures on her, CPR on the floor, the defibrillator on the floor, they would have had to have seen, because when somebody passes away, as we both know, it starts to kick in pretty quickly,
Yeah,
you know, relatively quick. So if it's been at least an hour, we're talking some stiffness, we're talking some discoloration. They had to have been able to put something, and maybe it's in the FOIA information that you put the request in, but if this was at least an hour, maybe even an hour and a half, there would be some signs that it's been a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be respectful when I'm saying it. So.
No, I know what you mean. I mean, I guess that's part of the problem too, right? If he was gone for what was it, 2 hours?
Almost a couple of hours.
Yeah. Then, I mean, at that point, I'm trying to be careful about what I say because,
Right.
you know, within 2 to 4 hours, some lividity would have set in.
Yep.
Some rigor would have set in.
Yep.
So is it, I just, that's something I've struggled with since I became a police officer and learned about all that stuff that like doesn't jive with this whole story. Like it just doesn't fit. So those are all questions I hope I get answered in my FOIA request. But somebody, Annie, just asked if I was a police officer. I was. I'm not anymore, but I was for 13 years.
I don't even know what that question was. Must have been a while. It's hard because being in law enforcement in the past, you know a lot more about the body and what happens. So the first thing I said when I talk about Ashley on my regular public lives is how does he, and again, just based off what he said, I'm not putting words in his mouth. These are the words he used. He left around 11:45 in the morning, went and got breakfast, and then got back roughly 1:45 in the afternoon, and that's when he discovered her. But if that 2 hours actually elapsed and she was already pretty much gone, because I think you said around 2:45, which is only 45 minutes after they found her.
Yeah.
There should be some RM. You already know what RM is. I don't know if anyone else does, but the rigor. There should be some arm that's already set in. There should be a temp that's already set in. There should be some stiffness that's already set in. There should be some pooling of red bodily fluids. Like this should all be documented somewhere. Maybe again, you'll get that with the FOIA request, but we should have that information.
Yeah, something that I haven't considered and something I should probably look into is if the Mexican authorities have a similar process to our FOIA requests, because they did the initial autopsy, which, still to this day really bothers me, but it is what it is. So I got to look into if I can request their paperwork from the autopsy. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe somebody in here does, but
could somebody on this chat, can someone just do a quick look up? Probably a couple, like one of my OG followers. You guys know I trust you. If you guys could do a quick look up while we figure that out, because I don't know if you have to, number one, be a citizen there, or number two, if it has to come from the feds.
Yeah.
And that there has to be like a signature from the federal government to get that information released to a non-citizen. So I don't know, like you said, I don't know what the jurisdictions are like there. I don't know what's possible and what's not possible there.
Real quick, I think Ashbug has asked this question a few times. Did he get paid to do that show? I don't know. I know my mom didn't get paid, so I wouldn't imagine he did, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't disclose that to us.
No.
But yeah, I have no clue. I do know that he went to a rehab that I'm almost 100% sure he couldn't have afforded, but that's conjecture. That's allegedly, I don't know.
But do we know anything about the Attorney General? Was it the DA? Who was the one that didn't prosecute it to? I completely blanked.
The Attorney General.
Is he or she still with us?
No, the person who would have been that Attorney General back then is gone.
Well, I mean, like alive.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
Because maybe that's another avenue.
Yeah.
If they're no longer in that seat, maybe that's another avenue.
Yeah, I mean, there's some. I mean, if we're gonna put on a tinfoil hat, there's some things I've certainly thought about. The cruise industry has their hands in a lot of different people's pockets.
Yeah, we know that.
I'll be careful about what I say. I don't want anybody's account to get whatever. But yeah, there's certainly some aspect of some backroom deals maybe having been made. I don't know that for sure, but that's something we probably need to consider.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I know where you're going with that. We'll leave it where it is, but I agree. Sad,
Yeah.
but I agree. Looks like the answer that we're looking for: a non-citizen can obtain records from Mexico.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming you're gonna have to do like a little like of an application like you already did and answer some questions, but apparently yes, a non-citizen can get that information. So
Hey, Stormy's in here. Thanks, Stormy. Yeah, I looked at your video and that boggles my mind. So there is a statute of just that, even that, of him
yep,
putting the medication into a different bottle.
yep,
That's cut and dry. He admits it.
right.
So why wasn't anything done? That doesn't make any sense to me.
The only thing that I can think of is if he admits it, it's an admission of guilt. But if his rights weren't read to him before he said it, like that's the other big thing. If he just comes off and says it, though, I don't know if they can just go after him for that.
Yeah, but was he in custody? I mean, we're getting into like
Oh, I was
really
talking. Oh, yeah. Then
case.
that I don't know.
We're getting into like case law.
Yeah,
If he was in custody and he admitted it, then that's not a spontaneous statement. But
correct.
if he admitted it on 48 hours, he certainly wasn't in custody. He wasn't
Right.
being held. So a spontaneous statement on a TV show, I would think, would hold up in court as a statement made, a spontaneous statement. I mean, I don't know if it's my demeanor or whatever it is, but I've had countless people make spontaneous statements in my backseat of my patrol car. And, I'm not even asking any questions. They're just, here's what happened. I'm like, hey, dude, I didn't ask you anything. He's like,
It
oh,
gets
I
to the
know,
point
but-
where you're driving. You're like, hey, can you shut up?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, you're on body cam right now, just so you know.
They can hear you.
Yeah.
No, tell me more.
The Jesse tapes. Yeah, there's a 48 hours episode about it. It's season 19, episode 42. It's called Dark Voyage.
Yeah, hopefully you guys get an opportunity to go watch that. It'll connect a lot of the dots about what Seth and I are talking about here. I think. What are your thoughts on approaching whomever you choose to approach, or if it's someone like me or a neutral party? What are your thoughts on approaching it? You said something a few minutes ago that I wanted to highlight. You said, look, I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. I'm not trying to blow anybody's world up. That's not what I'm looking to do. I'm not trying to get anyone put in jail. I just want answers. What if you led with that? Because when you mentioned that you mentioned it to his brother, you said, I just want to talk. Well, that could be taken a few different ways. But what if it's, I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. No one's going to prosecute. We just need answers for Ashley. That's it. We're not trying. No one's going to the cops. No one's doing this. No one's doing that. Not trying to blow anyone's world up. We can talk privately, just you and I. No one needs to know about it. I'll translate it all to my family. Stuff like that. Like, what are your thoughts behind? I know you got to chat with the family about that, but like, what are your thoughts on like an idea like that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. And I think at this point, with how long it's been, he probably really needs to understand that that's what we want and that we're not looking to get him in trouble. Like,
Yeah.
he probably still has his defenses up, which I completely understand. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. But I think, whether it's me or whether it's you or a third party or whoever it is, can communicate to him that, like, hey, the Barnett family really just wants answers. Nobody's looking to ruin what you've got. Nobody's looking to drag you through the dirt or any of that. We just want answers about what happened. I think that would go a long way in getting him to open up a little bit. I don't know if it'll work, but I think that's probably the best approach at it.
Can I ask you it's not a bad question, but I'll just ask it. What are your thoughts on, I've always seen a lot of success when like a guy and a guy have a conversation, a woman and a woman have a conversation. What are your thoughts on a neutral female reaching out to the female party on his side? And obviously, like, who I'm talking about by the female party, woman to woman,
Um,
We're
I mean,
not
I
looking to
guess,
blow anything up. Nothing. We're just trying to get some answers for the family. That's all. Just woman to woman. Any way we can talk, even if we just talk each other, and he can give you the information, and you tell me what that information is, like something like that.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a possibility, but I feel like that might be the route to go if he doesn't respond. Um, I, if I can avoid it, I don't want to involve her because I don't want it. Like I said, I'm not trying to ruin anything for him.
Right.
So I don't want to involve her if I don't have to. You know
Right.
what I mean? And because she certainly doesn't have anything to do with it. She
Right.
didn't even, as far as I know, didn't even know Ashley. So I don't want to drag her into it and have her stressed out and freaking out about something that she really didn't have anything to do with. You know what I mean? So if we can avoid involving her, then I would prefer that. But if he initially refuses or doesn't respond, then I think at that point that's something that I would entertain.
Yeah. Just a thought. Just trying
Yeah.
to think of other ways. Because let's be real, right? FOIA requests get denied, and I don't want yours to get denied, but we know that they do get denied.
Yeah.
So if we hit a roadblock there, we have to come up with like an option B, or in your case, like an option like HIJK. Like, there's so many freaking options. I just I feel for you guys because you guys are trying to get the answers that you're been longing for 20 years, and there's people that have those answers, and they're not saying anything, and it must be beyond frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's an understatement. I mean I've spent man, I don't even know how many years of like just real dark depression. And
Yeah.
thankfully I've gone through it. I'm on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I spent a solid maybe 5 years of just I didn't I had zero problem if I was unalive for a long time. Just I would have never done it to myself,
Right.
but just didn't care. And thankfully, I had my wife who kind of pulled me out of that and uh, basically gave me an ultimatum of if you don't open up to me and you don't figure out what's going on, this isn't going to work.
Right.
And that's really what started to pull me out of that. And then through talking to my wife and really going through, it took me 5 years to really start going through the stages of grief. So I didn't really get angry until 6 or 7 years after Ashley passed because I wasn't going through the process.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, God, we've been struggling with all of this for a really long time, and it's not just me. So my brothers and I are close, but I don't know how bad my brothers dealt with it because they haven't opened up to me about how it affected them. And my older brother had to drive down to Mexico and identify Ashley. I can't imagine what that must have been like for him. I can't. That boggles my mind.
I'm glad your wife was there
Yeah. Yeah.
because I think every one of us, you and I talking and the people in this chat, I think we all know someone that's gone through what you went through and didn't succeed
Yeah.
making their way out of it. So thank God, thank God for your wife. And I'm proud of you for going through it because that's not easy. That's a dark, dark tunnel that doesn't have light for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm glad on that. Switching it a little bit, Mom, what's her thought on this whole process? It's been 20 years, FOIA request is in. Has her thought process kind of shifted at all? Like maybe we should look at it this way, that way. How's she doing? What are her thoughts at this stage?
Surprisingly, and I think maybe she's been waiting for a moment like this, but she's sort of slowly handed the reins over to me and said, "Hey, you're doing it now. You're telling her story. What do you want to do?" So I think, she went through something I could never imagine.
Yeah. We'll take
I
that.
like being a parent now. I just if I go there, I won't be able to get out of that. So I just try to avoid thinking
Yep.
that way. Um, but she's at a point now where she's fought for other people. She's
Yep.
advocated for other people. She's advocated for Ashley for so long that I think there's probably a little bit of relief from her. That's like, okay, finally somebody else is going to fight for Ashley. Um, and now we're to the point where I think she's like telling me, hey, what do you want to do? I'm good with what you want to do. So I think for the majority of stuff, if I go to her and say, hey, this is where I think we should go, she's going to be okay with it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think she's my mom is amazing, and she's to the point now where she's got so many different things going on, and I think she's grateful that one of her kids has stepped up and decided to pick up where she left off.
You mentioned you had brothers and sisters. Are you one of how many?
I was one of six, so now I'm one of five. I have two brothers and two sisters, and I am the second youngest.
Okay.
So uh, I have two older sisters. They're half, so we have the same dad but different mom.
Hmm.
And I see them somewhat regularly because they live not too far from where we live now. Uh, my two brothers still live out in California, so we're close and we talk, but I don't see them as much as I would like. But
Are they? I mean, I guess because with my algorithm, I only see you. But are they advocating publicly about anything? Or are they just kind of putting it on you and saying, "Hey, Seth, you seem to have a good reign on this. You do what you got to do." I just don't see anything else or anyone else. That's all.
yeah, no, they're not, and I don't blame them for that. Gosh, I went almost 20 years without doing anything, so I think going, and I'm sure other people in here who have lost a sibling or anything like that, like you just get to a certain point where you're like, okay, I have to move on with my life, and um, whether we find out what really happened or not, like I have a life to live, and I'm gonna live it. And both of them are amazing people. Like both of my brothers, my other two sisters, they're amazing people, really. And I don't fault them for not stepping up at all. Like I didn't do it for forever, really. I mean,
Right.
19, almost 20 years. I just, and really the only ones I've talked to about it are my two sisters and my younger brother. My older brother, I think he just doesn't really do social media. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's really
His thing.
his thing.
Yeah.
My younger brother seems to be fully behind me and like, hey, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. My sisters are definitely supportive of it. And I think at this point, instead of jumping on social media and posting about it, they're just putting it on me, which is fine. Like, I have no problem with that. Um, I think a big part of it is my experience in law enforcement for them is like, he's going to be able to figure out more than we could, which, I don't know if that's true necessarily, but uh, I can certainly look at things from a different perspective. So, um, yeah, I don't, it's not that they don't want to. I just don't think they ever tried, which,
Yeah.
you know,
Which I want to be clear, like on my end, I didn't. When I was asking that question, I wasn't saying why aren't they doing enough. I just kind of want to know, like, what are their thoughts on it?
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, gosh, I hadn't even really considered it until you asked it. Um, I just don't think that any of them want to take it on. I mean, we all have families. We all, have lives to live. And I'm not sure any of them wanted to deal with what comes along with it. And since I've left law enforcement, there's still like a need to want to serve. I love my job. I love the hours. I love not having to deal with what I had to deal with, but there's still a part of me that wants to do good in the world.
Yeah.
And For right now, that's doing good for Ashley.
Yep.
Hopefully we can find answers for Ashley, and then I can start doing good for other people. But for right now, it's going to be doing good for Ashley.
I agree. One of the questions that was asked here is, and I'm paraphrasing it because I don't feel like scrolling up. You mentioned it's been a while, right? It took almost 20 years to start talking about this publicly and going onto social media. What kept you from doing this 3 years ago, 4 years ago? And again, I know this person said it in a respectful way. It may not come off
Yeah,
respectful.
no, I get it. I get asked that question a lot, actually, and I don't necessarily have a definitive answer other than I we watched the Amy Bradley is Missing documentary, and I saw Brad Bradley, and I looked at my wife and I was like, maybe I should start a TikTok and talk about Ashley. And she was like, that's actually a pretty good idea. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do it. Well, I didn't do it right away. It took a couple weeks or whatever. But really, Brad Bradley was uh,
The inspiration behind
yeah,
it.
the inspiration for me to advocate for Ashley. And there was a desire for me to want to do it before that. But for whatever reason, I didn't know how. It was like, well, I don't want to reach out to him, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to. And really, the reason I became a police officer was advocating for Ashley, but on a different level. You
Right.
know, like I want to go out, I want to help people, and try to be the voice of reason for people in a situation where, you know, I got told by a mentor when I first started in police, like law enforcement. He told me, remember that everybody you deal with is having the worst day of their life. And for whatever reason, that stuck with me. And I realized that, like, potentially everybody I come across is going to remember my name and how I treat them for the rest of their life. So I handled every call I ever went on like that person was going to remember me for the rest of their life. Because I got in trouble when I was a kid, and I still remember that officer's name. And he was super nice and super respectful. And I just wanted to be that person as much as I could, you know? And so I handled it maybe in a different way. I didn't get on social media and start talking about my sister. But for a long time, I was working as a police officer trying to do good in the world and help people and give people answers that they needed. And then when I got out of law enforcement, I feel like there was a little bit of something missing at that point because I wasn't doing that anymore.
Yep.
And when we sat down to watch the Amy Bradley is Missing, I was like, oh, well, none of us have gotten on social media and talked about it. Like, maybe I should do that. So I think that's where it all stemmed from Brad Bradley, but I had been doing it in a different way for a long time.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think the power of social media is huge, and I know, you know, maybe even 10 years ago it wasn't as big as it is now. Now pretty much everyone lives on social media. You know, and I think what you're doing is great, and I think, you know, coming out with it and making us all aware. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Seth, fully transparent. I didn't know about this at all until somebody sent me your profile, and it was before my account got hacked, and we were messaging a little bit. I'm like, hey, I don't know anything about this, and we talked a little bit. It wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't even have had this with you today if you didn't come on social media and start talking about it. So I'm glad you did.
Yeah, me too. And even, God forbid, even if nothing comes of it other than a lot of people hearing about how amazing Ashley was, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So even if we get to a point where I'm like, okay, we're never going to find out, which I pray that doesn't happen. But even if that does happen, I will be totally okay with the fact that I've got 22,000 followers now.
Yep.
Thankfully, 22,000 people have heard Ashley's story and know about what an amazing person she was that maybe wouldn't have heard about it if I didn't get on TikTok and start posting about it, you know?
Yeah, and that's a good way to look at it, right? And every day or every other day when you're making a post, those people are seeing it and those people are sharing it. And these are all people, for the most part, you had no idea existed before you opened up your TikTok and started doing it, right? You had no idea. I don't even know what that feels like, but I imagine it's a good feeling to know there's all these strangers around the world that are backing you up that you had no idea about.
Oh yeah, man, that's awesome. We've had, I mean, gosh, I don't even know how many times I've looked at my phone and gone, oh gosh, there's so many people. Like I look at my wife and go, how do I respond to all these people?
It's hard. Trust me.
Oh, I know. And I do my very best to make sure that I respond to as many people as I can and answer as many questions as I can because, I've been on the other side of it and I've asked questions and not got answers, or I've been on somebody's social media and been like, say something and want an answer and don't get an answer. I'm like, I don't, this stems back to the same thing, like I want to be the person who actually gives somebody an answer.
Right.
So I try to do as best as I can. If you're in the live and you ask me a question, I don't answer it. I promise if you send me a message or a comment, I will get to it eventually.
Yeah, I've always said he's very good about responding. It's hard sometimes, like when we're on a roll and I see questions flowing in, and I'm like listening to you, and I'm like,
yeah,
trying to read them all. But I think people know, right, and people get it, and I think it's a great feeling to know that you have a whole bunch of people from all around the world that you didn't know existed advocating for your sister, talking about her. Even my wife's mom, my mother-in-law, she'll be like, hey, who's that pretty girl that you talk about now? And I'm like, oh, and I started talking about it, and then a conversation started, truthfully, is she was on Will and Grace, and my mother loses it because she's going, I love that show. Jack talks about Jack.
Oh,
and sometimes those like little icebreaker conversation starters is all it is. And now my mother talks about it, and her mother talks about it. It becomes wildfire in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy. Do you guys have anyone that's here now that's commenting? I'm gonna have a couple of questions that I'll pull up, or if Brad, well, you mentioned Brad, Seth. If you see any specific questions that you want to answer, just pick them out and we can do a couple. They're not asking me anything. It's all about you.
No, I haven't seen any questions in a while.
Yeah, it's a lot of
very supportive, and I appreciate
supportive ones.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was a question earlier about, and obviously we're sticking with Ashley. There was some questions about your cooking, but I'm trying to stick with Ashley. Yes, see, right there. Kathy just said, I want to know what's for dinner. See what I'm saying?
It was jambalaya.
Jambalaya, yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Spicy, though?
It was spicy.
Love that for you.
Yeah. Hold on. Courtney asked, have we ever heard from her boyfriend? No. Not for
Cindy asked the same thing.
Yeah.
So, but has he said anything to anybody else?
Not
and
that I
heard
know
it
of.
through the grapevine?
I mean, I have friends that were friends with him that haven't heard from him in 20 years. That, I reach out and I'm like, hey, have you heard from him? And they're like, no, I haven't talked to him in forever. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
Okay. Who did he tell? I'm just kind of asking a question I see. Who did he initially tell about having that substance in the bottle? Do we know?
Well, he told the medical crew, and then he told my mom. So we know he told the medical crew. We know he told my mom. I don't know what he said to the FBI when he got questioned because we haven't seen that. But if he was already telling people, I would imagine he probably told the FBI the same thing.
Okay. I was just trying to, again, we talked about this earlier, right, or yesterday. I was just trying to understand the whole pill bottle thing. And if there was no witnesses there, it's one word against the other, and one, unfortunately, is no longer with us. Why would he implicate himself and mention that he brought it onto the ship? The other question I have is, was there any form of discipline for bringing a substance like this on a ship?
No, not that I know of. I mean, he was never charged with anything, so I can't imagine there was. Yeah, I mean, Nope.
And
I
this
got
is a 3-day cruise, right?
Yeah,
And they stayed on the cruise for the remaining day and then just went back.
yeah.
Were they in the same room?
No. So Ashley and her boyfriend had their own room.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. I meant did they move the boyfriend to another room because of what happened in that room?
Um, I don't know. From what I've been told, that room was held for the FBI. Um,
Okay.
I don't know where he stayed in the meantime, and I think Stormy actually asked earlier if we ever got a manifest, and we never did. So, uh, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering. I mean, if something happened in that room, I would assume they wouldn't have him stay that night in that room. But I would
Yeah,
also try to want to know, was there any access to that room from anybody else?
yeah, I don't know the answer to that, unfortunately.
No, that's okay. Um,
Cherie asked where she can find more. If you just Google search Ashley Barnett, you'll get a bunch of different articles. There's a 48 Hours episode, season 19, episode 42. It's on Pluto TV. And then Ashbug, if I get my FOIA, can you share it with us? Yes, I will definitely share whatever the FOIA says with everybody on TikTok.
and Steph said, if they close a case, do they get rid of evidence? I'm wondering if any evidence is still available. Typically, Steph, they don't get rid of evidence. They'll document everything. But a lot of this is from 20 years ago. So some of the evidence they may not have anymore. But a lot of the stuff should be documented.
Yeah.
Did they take the bottle from him? Do you know?
I don't know. I would imagine they did, but we don't know that for certain. If they did, I'm hoping that would be in the FOIA. But yeah, I don't know.
God, I think you were going to answer a question.
Heather asked, have I ever caught the guy stalking you online? No, I haven't. No contact with him at all, actually.
I'm sorry, what?
She asked if the boyfriend had ever stalked me online.
Oh, I thought you had like a stalker, and you're like, I haven't heard from it. I'm like, why
No,
didn't you tell me
no.
any of this? All right. What about? I know there's a couple questions that like we already know the answers to, but I'll see what I can do. One of them was, did Ashley and her boyfriend have problems in their relationship? Cindy, from what I understand from the previous live we had with Seth, I think he said they had like your typical relationship bickering, but nothing really crazy. Is there anything else on
No,
that?
nothing over the top. At least not that I was ever made aware of. Nothing to suggest that there was ever any DV or anything like that. I mean, my sister was pretty open with me, so if that had been the case, I think she would have told me. But yeah, nothing like that.
I actually have a question, but I can say it on TikTok, but I'm just trying to word it. If you want, maybe answer one of these questions. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to
Yeah,
word
let me
it.
look. Courtney, I think I know where he is. I think I do. I'm not 100% sure. And to my knowledge, nothing like this has happened since then.
All right. I think I have the way to word it.
Okay.
When you had to identify her, did you notice anything on her DV related or suspicious of DV?
Well, I never had to. My brother did. My older brother did. But he didn't. He never mentioned anything. And in fact, in the autopsy report, it doesn't mention anything. No bruises. No, you know, nothing had affected her organs or anything like that. No obvious signs of trauma.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe if God forbid there was any kind of physical situation that night, we'd be able to see it. I'm just trying to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer any more questions that we have on here? I have my final question, but I want to make sure you're doing your thing too.
Trying to see. I don't know if there were.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll through, but
my phone's unaliving. Isn't it funny how we actually have like an actual TikTok like vocabulary?
I know it's crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah, I don't have any more to answer, at least not at the moment. So
Perfect. So I know your little one's sick. So I have one final question, and it's from me to you. What more can I do? In
man,
your
I don't,
opinion, your family's opinion, what else can I personally do?
you've already done more than we could have ever asked. Like legitimately, you've been amazing and helped me in ways that like I can't even tell you. So I will tell you if anything comes up that I feel like you could help with. I will not hesitate to ask you for help. If we decide that talking to her boyfriend through a third party is an idea, I will suggest that it's you because I think you would do a good job. I'll let my family kind of decide that, but my suggestion will be that it's you. But yeah, thank you so much for everything you've done for Ashley and for our family and telling her story. It's been crazy over the last couple of months, but I appreciate everything you've done.
I, I appreciate the kind words, and I can't imagine what you're going through. I know I've said this before. Um, so what I'm doing it because I don't know what I would do if I was in your position or your mom's position, your brothers and sisters' position. I don't know. Um, but like you said, if there's anything else that I can do, anything that comes to mind, you know where to find me. Um, Whatever it is, even if it's just a conversation of like, hey, I want to bounce some ideas off you, we'll do it.
Yeah,
Whatever it takes.
absolutely.
Perfect. Again, I appreciate you taking the time. I know your little one's not feeling well, but I appreciate you taking the time answering some of those questions. I know are not the most comfortable, um, but I appreciate you kind of standing there and doing it. And I love the story about your thought process of being a cop, and the way you went about it. Unfortunately, and I'm saying unfortunately because you know how this world is, good cops are hard to come by right now. And knowing that you've moved on from that, for your own reasons, which were great reasons, kind of wish you were still involved because a good cop like that is needed out there. But no, I really respect that. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to take a minute and
Please.
thank the Grind Gang because they show up all the time. They are so awesome and so supportive, and I'm so thankful for them. I appreciate all you guys. You guys are amazing, and yeah, thank you guys for showing up and for commenting on everything and sending me messages. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I don't even remember who came up with the hashtag grind gang from the very I don't know who I don't remember who it was. There was a few people, but anytime I go into your lives and you're just throwing it down in the kitchen, like 98% of them are like the people that I talk to. I'm like, oh, there they are.
Yeah,
But no, I'm,
that's
I'm
awesome.
glad, because I say it all the time on my regular lives. I know you're always in on them. You know, I'm doing this to get answers for the people that can't speak for themselves.
Yeah,
Um, so whatever we can do, it means a lot, and the support is everything. So I appreciate you taking the time with us. We will definitely do it again, and you and I will talk obviously off this live. And whatever you need, do not hesitate.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And likewise, if you ever have questions you need to ask me about something else, I'm more than happy to pitch in.
Absolutely, and I will.
All
I
right.
will. And if you have any questions about the kitchen or anything like that, the Italian can help you out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
All right, Seth. Have a good night, man.
All right, you too.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.